The John Ben Shepperd Public Leadership Institute at the University of Texas of the Permian Basin is proud to introduce the 2015 Outstanding Local Leader recipient, Mr. D. Kirk Edwards.
You know, the leaders I've admired, I've been lucky in life because my father was an early leader and John Ben Shepperd was his business partner. So I grew up in a life where I had two great leaders to start out with. I'll never forget when I was probably 8 years old, I was in a board meeting with John Ben and my dad, and John Ben said, "Kirk, you want to make that motion to a resolution they were passing?" So it was probably my first ever board meeting, and I was scared to death because I didn't know what to do. But my dad had started Permian Basin Petroleum Association some 50 years ago. He was their second president, and I became the first father-son combination of the PBPA when I was president 4 years ago. So that was some great legacy that I had there. And in business, I think Boone Pickens has been a great leader. Boone has always been somebody, he's very well educated in his field. He takes a stance, he goes public with it, and he helps educate people along the way. And he doesn't get in other fields where he doesn't belong, which I think is very unique for somebody of his stature.
Mr. Edwards is president and CEO of Latigo Petroleum, LLC. In that leadership role, he manages, operated, and exploits diverse oil and gas assets and surface lands with properties located throughout the United States and the Gulf of Mexico. Kirk also serves as the lead manager for Las Colinas Energy Partners, Las Colinas Minerals LP, McLendon Energy LP, Alexis Energy LP, Noel Land and Minerals LLC, and various mineral estates of the Mayo Foundations for Medical Education and Research in Rochester, Minnesota. He is also a former chairman of the Federal Reserve Bank of Dallas's El Paso branch board.
One of the leadership roles in my local community of Midland, Odessa was something that didn't come around very quickly. It's 13 years in the making, but when David Watts became president of University of Texas Permian Basin, when he was interviewing 13 years ago, I asked him, "When are we going to get football at UTPB?" And he said, "Soon." He said that to me for probably 11 years, until finally a couple of years ago he came and said the regents said if we can show some interest in our community for football, that they would allow us to do a feasibility study. So a couple of years ago, I got with some local Odessans and talked about the need to show some interest in football, and everybody jumped on board immediately. My vision for football for UTPB, it's not for football, but it's for having the ability to grow this university to its next level. One of the things missing from the school is that kind of a camaraderie that you have around a big athletic sport. And you can see what it's done for Texas Tech and Baylor and UT through the years. It's made them grow immensely, and there's so much student pride. And so we're feeling that the football will bring at least 1,000 more kids to the campus over the next 4 or 5 years. And going back to the community after the regents gave us the approval to do it, we were able to raise the amount of money they told us that we needed to raise in 12 months. They gave us 12 months to raise the money, and we put it together in about 3.
In 2003, then Speaker of the House Tom Craddock appointed Mr. Edwards to the Oilfield Cleanup Fund Advisory Committee. And in 2008, he was reappointed by Speaker of the House Joe Strauss. He is still an active member of this important committee.
In my career, I've had what I feel are 2 crucible leadership events. One was in 1997, 98, 99, when I was part of a big public company that had about 10,000 employees, and the oil price went from a great $37 a barrel at the time to $9 a barrel. And all of a sudden, we're having to lay off all these employees that had been working for us that were so vital. And at that moment, we decided, here in West Texas, to come up with a face for the United States to see that was our oil business, and it turned out to be our Hispanic population in West Texas, which was being devastated because 90% of the workforce of the oil and gas industry and the service industry is Hispanic. And so by putting a face of Hispanic people on the plight that was happening to us out here in West Texas, we were able to get Washington's attention that we really had a problem going on out here. So that was kind of my first taste of leadership and getting public and talking to people at that time. And I've made a kind of a pronounced decision to do that because I want people to have the right facts instead of talking to people outside of our industry that will try to spin it in another direction. So that's something I've done.
Kirk's community activities include serving as the development board member and chair of Leadership Giving for the University of Texas of the Permian Basin, as well as an advisory board member for the College of Business and the Athletics Department. He was awarded the Excellence in Community Service Award in Business in 2008 by the Heritage of Odessa Foundation and inducted into the Odessa Business Hall of Fame by the Odessa Chamber of Commerce in 2011. Mr. Edwards has served on numerous boards locally and statewide. He's a former city councilman, a member of the United Way Pillars Club, and an Upward basketball coach.
The other leadership event that I can look back to is when I was chairman of the Chamber of Commerce in Odessa, and we were having our celebration on a Thursday in September of 2007. And it was going to be a big event, a big celebration, and we had a big banquet room all ready to go. And 3 days beforehand, a pall had taken over our town when 3 of our police officers were shot and killed in one event. And so the Chamber's always been a big part of the city of Odessa, and so all of a sudden we're looking at not having our event, and because how would you have that with the funeral of these officers coming up that really weighed heavily on our community? And what we did at that time is we came, and I came up with an idea that instead of having the event about us, let's have it about these police officers. And in 2 days, we raised over $100,000 from this community for the families of those police officers. And it was a wonderful event at our chamber banquet. We did have it, but we were able to present the police chief and honor him and our police department instead of us that evening. So it really turned out to be a great event for Odessa and a great event in my life for sure.
Kirk loves to scuba dive, go fly fishing, or play golf. His 2 daughters are busy with college. London is a sophomore at Baylor studying geology, and Mackenzie is a junior at UT Austin in political communications and studying for her law school entrance exam. Outstanding local leader, Mr. D. Kirk Edwards.